Hello Steelers, and welcome to another bench report hobby update. Another busy week actually this one, so strap yourselves in. There's quite a lot to get through in this. I've had quite a lot come through the post this week, but I'll show you that in a second. I've also managed, because we finished the excavations up at Lodgemore, I was able to do a lot more painting this week as well, so I've just been able to crack on with that. The first thing that I did, or the first thing that I finished, was the German company for O Group. They are now complete, or at least the basics are complete. So this is the three companies, including their company commanders, forward observer, and also some of the Panzer Schrecks as well. This is from the Plastic Soldier Company's Late War German Grenadiers box set. I've still got quite a few figures left over in the box, but I'm going to be using those for other bits and pieces. I might do some of those single base, turn them into sniper teams, that kind of thing. So it's not 100% complete. Well, it's, you know, the basics are 100% complete, but that's really what I was looking for. What that meant as well was that I was able to actually sell off my 15mm Germans as well, which is good. So I cleared some space for those. I sold a bunch to Mick. We just agreed on it at the moment. He hasn't actually picked them up yet. I'm going to take them down to the club on Thursday, and he will have those. It's my old Peter Pig figures that they just don't fit with the modern collection, but it's a really good solid O Group collection that he could just use straight on the table, and I think that's what he wants them for. I doubt he'll spend much time stripping and painting them himself. The other thing I also painted was another 3D printed building as well. This is one of the ones I got from Sabotage, from Paul. I used some of his fences as well on the garden around it. Instead of doing a separate garden for this, I thought I was just going to make an integral one. The reason being, it looks a little bit like a barn. It's got that nice barn door feel to it, so I thought this can just do with its own separate little base, and that's basically why it is what it is. I think I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. I do keep meaning to do a painting video on these, but the reason I haven't done one is because I've actually spent this weekend, it's been a pretty quiet weekend, spent this weekend dealing with the backlog of videos that I needed to edit. So that was painting the Panzer IIIs, painting Germans in 6mm, and also a new quick strike video as well that I'm going to be releasing on the 23rd of this month instead of the Peter Hart review, which I'll probably put out maybe next week sometime earlier. I'll probably just drop that out as a bonus video. The reason is there's a particular anniversary on the 23rd of September that I want this video to tie in with, so it's going to tie in with that, but I'll keep quiet about it and see if you can guess what it is in the comments. I'm not even going to tell you what game it is. I managed to get those done, and like I say, I've basically been working on videos a lot, so I'm not actually gamed this weekend, but I did manage to get a lot of videos sealed and signed off and waiting for release at some point in the future. And when I say some point in the future, current schedule wise, it's going to be at least a month, so you know, hold your breath if you're looking forward to seeing how I paint Panzer IIIs. I also began work on another destroyed house. This is one of the ones from Patrick Miniatures. This is really as far as I've got. I've only really just done the undercoating. Again, I put this on its own individual base. These are some walls that I got, I think, from Ironclad, I think, a long time ago. I've had them kicking around for a while, and I thought these will do perfectly well for a little destroyed wall, so this is going to get a lot of rubble on it. And again, it's another nice Patrick Miniatures house, and I've just started, as I say, literally the undercoating of that, so that will probably get done this week, I'm hoping. I also as well started work on a bit of scatter terrain as well from again from Sabotage. So this is barrels and beehives. There's even a little 15mm scarecrow in there. You probably can't see it. I'm not going to bring it in because it probably won't focus on it. But also apples and milk carts, milk crates and things. So I'm just working on those. Very simple to do, but they just look lovely across the tabletop and also on some of the scenery. The other thing I started as well, I did actually start on the Plastic Soldier Company's Russian infantry in summer uniform. I've got them here. I bought these a while ago, you might remember, because again I wanted to do a Soviet battalion for O Group from scratch, so I could get rid of old ones. I'd forgotten how skinny these figures are, and they just don't seem to match with the Germans that I've got. So I wasn't. I got so far into them, and also I think there's probably not actually enough figures in here to make up an entire company. So what I might do is I might either resell these on or pass them over to Mick as part of the German giveaway that he's loaned me. But that's just it was slightly disappointing. So really, it meant that I had to go hunting for other Soviets. I'll talk about that in a second, what's come through the post. The other thing that I got, well actually I could talk about the stuff that came through the post because, and the things that I've started on painting wise, is the late war German Grenadiers from Normandy heavy weapons set. So I've started those. I don't know if you can see them, they're on the desk here. I've just started putting those together. I want to get those done out of the way, and then that's them completed as well. So that's another task for this week really, is to get those finished off, and then I've got enough supports for the O Group battalion as well. Interestingly, when I got these from Plastic Soldier Company, when I was putting these together, funnily enough, I was thinking I'm sure I've done these before. I'm fairly sure I've done these figures before. And then I looked through my collection, and it was actually the early war set that I've got, and they're very similar. Apart from obviously some of these have got camo smocks on and things, and weapons are slightly different. But I was just thinking, am I sure I've got these? So I'm not just doubling up on these, and I wasn't. So it was all right. So these things happen. One thing as well, I got those from Plastic Soldier Company. I ordered them with something else, which we'll talk about in a minute. But they both came in the same box, and I ordered them on 2 different days, and I was charged twice for postage. A little bit annoyed about that. It wasn't a great deal, but it was just like, if you're putting them in the same box, you could at least give me some postage back. But so, if like me, don't order things within a couple of days, because they'll charge you twice for postage. But that's by the by. So they came in the post. Also Richard Hogg as well, again very, very, very kindly sent me a massive box of stuff. This is all 3D printed. I've not got around to dealing with the supports yet, but I've got some more LVTs. This is the British ones with the cannon on it. I think it's 37mm cannon or something. He's also sent me through some French tanks, H38s, H35s, some Sumas as well. So early war tanks, and there's about 4 of each of those. So more than enough that I need for chain of command, and probably enough for doing something with O Group as well. So there might be an early war French battalion coming along at some point. You never know. He also put in a couple of these as well, Japanese staff cars and trucks, which is brilliant because I don't have any of those, and they will be perfect for the Malayan stuff that I've got as well. So well chuffed with that. Thanks a million, Richard, if you're watching. Really, really appreciate it. And again, can't thank you enough. Really happy with that. So I'll put that away to one side. I also mentioned as well, I said that I got the Plastic Soldier Company's Russians. However, I decided not to use them, and I went hunting instead, and I found the Flames of War Rifle Company. This is obviously for Flames of War, Soviets mid-war. There's 152 figures in these. These are plastics, and they're quite nice. Pretty chunky figures compared to the Plastic Soldier Company ones, so they're going to fit better with my Germans when they're on the table. So that's kind of why I got them. I've not done anything with these, but there should be enough in here to sort out again a full battalion for O Group, and that's the reason I bought them. I have actually done a box opening video of this, which I'm going to release later this week. Probably Wednesday, I would have thought. I'll just put that out as a bonus video. I just thought it might be interesting for people to see what's in there. So check that out. That'll be on the channel at some point later on, just to see what kind of figures are in there. I'm not sure if this is if it's a brand new release. I couldn't find a date on it, on date of release or anything. So I'm not sure if it's been around for a while or not. It's new to me, obviously, because I just found it. Obviously, I don't play Flames of War, so I don't follow their release pattern or anything. But that's going to be perfect for O Group, and it's quite a nice box set. It's obviously a little bit more expensive than the Plastic Soldier Company. I think it comes in at about 30 quid, whereas theirs were 20 quid for the box. But you do get a load of bases. You do get all the Flames of War cards and things with it, unit cards. So you do get more in the box. However, I also got it, and it was on sale as well anyway on the Flames of War store itself. So that might be worth something checking out if you're interested. Go and have a look, see if they're still on sale. And I think I got about nearly, I think it was about £10 off it. So I didn't pay a huge amount for it compared to what the actual price was. The other thing that I mentioned was with Plastic Soldier Company was a copy of this. This is their battle group rules. This is the rulebook, core rules for the tabletop wargaming of World War II. I wanted to see what this is all about, really. I know I've known about it for a long time, but I've never played it, and I've never read the rules. So I just thought, well, the best way to do it is just to have a look at it myself. If there's call for it, I will do a full proper review on this. But I've not read it all, but I've read about 70% at the moment. Currently, to me, it feels a little bit pedestrian. I know it's quite an old rule set. It's been around for about 10 years, but this is a 2019 version. This is the softback, so it was only £16 compared to the hardback. It feels a little pedestrian. There's a few reasons for that. It doesn't feel particularly innovative in any way. There's a lot of stuff in there that has either been done by other rules and better, or could do with smoothing out. So, for example, the firing rules, infantry firing, you spot, you roll to fire, they roll for safe cover, and then you roll for morale. It's 4 dice rolls, where, say, for example, let's just say, chain of command, it's 2 dice rolls. You roll to hit, you roll to save, and then any effects out of that is basically your shock and your morale all rolled into one. So there's things like that where it feels a little bit, this is a bit clunky, you know. Why do I have to do all these rolls? And I know you could put the spotting roll into your firing, but obviously people like to know if they're spotted before or after. It just seems a little bit superfluous. You know, like with O Group, it has a spotting dice that's included in the firing, but the difference with that is you're not then rolling. It's automatically telling you if you're in cover or not. So again, it's smoothing out that whole rigmarole of going through, you know, several dice rolls. The fewer dice rolls, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Also, the armour rules as well seem a little bit over complex. It doesn't really seem to know where it comes in. Is it a squad game? Is it a platoon game? Is it a company game? Is it a battalion game? And I can imagine it being a battalion game being particularly slow, especially since it's an I go, you go. But the firing chart reminded me very much of Rapid Fire. The anti-tank chart, where you have, you know, a gun value and an armour value. Intrinsically, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a little bit old school nowadays. I much prefer to have to roll, you know, a number of dice for a strike value against a number of dice for an armour value, same as Peter Pig's PBI, or again any of TFL's rules, like A&B Shotmum or Chain of Command. I know again O Group is slightly different, and that's probably one of the biggest problems I have with the O Group rules, is the AT rules. But in this one, it just seems again overly complex and clunky, and I think there's about 10 or so categories for each of the armour and each of the guns. Let me just have a look. I'm doing a bit of a mini review for you here. I will get to the things that I do like about it, don't worry. Where is it? I'm just trying to find it here. So yeah, we've got 15 strike value, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 armour levels. And you have to look at this armour table as well to get these. Now, Rapid Fire again does it, but it does it with 6 values, 6 armour values, 6 penetration values. So you've got this, you know, it's a really small, much smaller thing. And I know, okay, after the first shot, you probably know what it is that you've got to get. But if you've got, say, 4 or 5 different tanks on the table, if you're playing a battalion level game, then this is going to really slow the game down as far as I can see. So there's a couple of things in it I thought were really clunky. Also the orders as well, and I know you give out orders in O Group, and it is a bit of an I go, you go. It's like, you know, one player takes the offensive, then one player takes the defensive. In this, it's just one player goes and then the second player goes. There's no initiative. You don't swap over. That's the other thing with the O group. You might swap over, and there's a chance for you to swap sides and who goes first. In this one, you don't. I do like the idea of rolling some dice to see how many orders you get. However, again, it looks a little bit like you could probably move pretty much everything on the table unless you're incredibly unlucky. But the thing I didn't like as well with the orders was the reaction orders. You have to put those orders in the turn before to react in your opponent's turn. So in the first turn, the defender can't react at all. You know, it's always going to be an attacker. They can never react to them. Whereas again, in O group, again, because I'm you know, it's the club probably closest to O group that I know. You can react immediately. You just use one of your orders because you've already gained your orders at the start of the turn. You could change the rules and do that, and both players have their orders. You know, you change a few things about it. I think that will make it a little bit more dynamic. The other thing is that I don't like there is no friction, or very little friction, apart from just not being able to move units depending on how many orders dice you've rolled. And you know, again, to go back to O group, you do have hesitant companies if you roll those triple ones. So there is that jeopardy that, you know, half of your table might not be able to do anything. Whereas in this, pretty much you can do something. You can move something. It's not particularly clear as well how many orders a unit can be given. It doesn't actually say in there. The other thing I didn't like, I'm going to give you all the things I didn't like, is in this particular set, and I know I spoke about this on Twitter with people, I know other people have said in the older sets they did actually have full lists for Kursk and for, I think, for the Canadians and the 12th SS. In this, there isn't a single army list, or even you know, just a basic one, just an example one. Even like, I would have even expected to see an American force and a German force, you know, like even like a company or something. Just that, just to show you exactly what you, so you can buy this, 16 quid, get your things on the table and play. With this you can't. You have to buy this, and then you have to either download the PDF from their page, which is great. I mean, it's free. It's a free PDF, but you also have to. They're saying go and buy the theatre books as well, which again is another large expense because they're not cheap. So I really don't like that idea of it's almost like it's half a rules. And I know you could say, well, there's a PDF that's free. There is, but there is also a page devoted to rolling one dice and the explanation to it. So let me just show you what I mean. There is, where is it, the spotting dice. There's literally an entire page given up to why you roll the spotting dice. Let me just find it for you 1 second. There we are, look, that. Just an entire page on that. That there is enough space for a German platoon. You know, just to show you, just to give you an idea of rules, just to give you an idea, because you're reading it, and it's not really, you know, it's talking about things, but the concepts aren't covered in it. And I can't think of any other set of rules, apart from maybe Saga, that don't include at least one force list. And even just doing, you know, a German one, a generic German 1944 list with a generic British or generic American 1944 list, because obviously, you know, Normandy is the most popular of all the theatres for wargaming in the Second World War. You know, it might not be your favourite, but it is certainly the most popular. So I was quite disappointed with that, really. And I know, again, I'm going back, you know, the early editions had those in them, but this is what I've bought. You know, this is the thing that I've bought. And again, with PDFs, I'd either have to read this as a PDF or I've got to print it out. So that is, again, it's another expense on top of the thing that I've already printed. So I just, you know, from my point of view, I don't know. Because I'm just about to talk about something that is a PDF, which I was very happy to get because that was free. So kudos for them to giving away a PDF, but I just think this could also include some very basic, you know, force lists just to get you started. For somebody who's literally new to the hobby, it feels a little bit like you've just stopped at the gates. What do I like about it? I very much like the when I get to it here, it's the force morale, basically, the battle rating system, where when something happens, if you get a unit destroyed, you draw a token and it's got a number on it. When that is greater than your battle rating, your force morale has collapsed and it is out. This is quite basic, however, and I do think something like the Strength and Honour type of this, because it's similar to Strength and Honour, where you have two different decks or two different sets of counters, would be better, because these counters go all the way up to 5, between 1 and 5, whereas I would have something like, you know, if a commander is killed, then you might pull out a red card, which would then go up to 5. Whereas if you have a, you know, if you just have a team killed, then you pull out like a green card, and that might only go up to 3. So, you know, you're kind of stacking the odds of it getting worse if something worse happens on the table, because you might just lose a team of machine guns, you know, an LMG team, and then you pull a 5 out, you know. So I think it could do with a little bit of polish, but I like it as a concept, and I like it as a mechanic, and I think it's probably pretty good as well on the table as they're building up. You know, what do you do? It'll probably make you think a little bit about what you are actually doing on the tabletop. Well, anyway, that's kind of like a mini review of it. If you want a little bit more of an in-depth review, then please let me know in the comments, and I will. You know, I probably will do a review of it anyway and look at it more in depth at some of the mechanics and things like that. As I say, this is all based on just me reading it over the last couple of days, rather than an actual playing of the game. And I'm fairly sure that once you get something on the table, it's going to feel a lot different. But that is just my initial feelings. And as I said, sticking with PDFs and free things, this was sent over to me by Terry Druitt, but also Rich Clark sent me a copy of this as well. This is the Chain of Command Tactical Primer. I've had this printed over at Docs Direct. This is a PDF. It is free. It is free on Lard Island News. If you go and check it out there, it was published in 2014. I couldn't find this actual the bundled PDF. But you can find the individual chapters of it, and I think there's 7 in total, on the Lard Island News, and they are all well worth reading, because this is an absolutely fantastic piece of kit for anybody who plays Chain of Command in particular, but also any small platoon-sized game, I would say. And I think it is. It's really good because it just talks about tactics of the time, the Second World War tactics, how the different units used their integrated platoon weapons, and you know, as I say, it's meant for Chain of Command, but I think this would equally work. You could use a lot of the rules, or the not rules, the prompts in this in things like bolt action as well, if you wanted to be a little bit more what's the word? Well, more historical than just lining figures up and shooting at each other with dice. This actually goes through, you know, fire and movement, how to use it, you know, covering fire down, that kind of thing. And it's a really, really nice piece of work. Massive kudos to Rich for writing it back in the day, nearly 10 years ago. It's 27 pages, and it is well worth a read. I will put a link in the description below to part 1 that I found on Lard Island News. As I say, I'm not sure if it was bundled up later on. You'll have to do a bit of a search around, see if you can find a copy of it. I'll ask Rich, and if he agrees, I'll put a link to it in the description down below, or in next week's update, or I'll just update this with a link, and I'll put it in my Google Drive so you can get hold of it as well. I don't think he'll have an issue, but I will ask him first of all. I should have asked him when he sent it through to me. Didn't think, but well worth looking at. Free as well, which is great. Wow, we are 25 minutes in nearly. Right, last couple of things. As I said, this weekend I've not played any games because I have simply been video editing any of my backlog, just getting that cleaned up and getting rid of some of the massive files I've had sat on my hard drive for a while. So that's been good for me. However, last Sunday Dean and I played a game of The Men Who Would Be Kings. Again, we played the same scenario that we played the day before. This time round, I talked about it in last week's update. We actually changed the rules and we introduced the tokens, the pull of tokens. So this was done similar to sharp practice, I use my sharp practice tokens. We split the units between red and blue, and however many units, individual units you had one token of your colour in the bag. So I think the Italians, I took the Italians, I had 4, he had the Abyssinians and he took 6. I think his were blue and mine were red, I think. And it worked a million times better, really did. The rules, just so you know, what we did is you pull a token. If you it doesn't matter what the number is on the token, we were just using the ones that I had. You could use any, just blank tokens. And then you basically gave that token to one of your units that hadn't yet activated. There was a little caveat in that, and then they had to do an activation roll to do whatever it is they wanted to do, unless they had that bonus move or whatever. A little caveat and a little wrinkle in it was that if you had a unit that was pinned, you had to and they hadn't been activated, you had to activate them first, and you had to try to unpin them. So that was as your army was getting under fire more and more, it's kind of blocking up your orders a little bit, so it's adding a little bit of friction to the game, which really made it interesting. So it was a case of you have to put down this order on this unit. So that was a little wrinkle. I was thinking about it a little bit later on as well. What I thought was, if a unit had lost its leader, they weren't allowed to be activated until everything else with the leader had been activated. I thought that might be another little way of just adding that little bit of friction and frisson that really elevates the game a little bit more. Apart from that, it was a good fun game. Apart from going right down to the last man, literally it was my CV33 that was sat on the table. It was, if we'd have got force morale in there, then I think at that point we would have just, the game would have been up. But it's good fun anyway, great fun. And also then this week down at the club, we were supposed to be in the small room. Turns out we were actually in the big room. So we were just mostly playing board games. Paul took Arkham Horror down, and I showed him how to play Arkham Horror, because the more people that play Arkham Horror, the better for me, because I love playing it. And it was a fantastic game. We just played through the first scenario of the core box using Roland and Wendy. And you get that real nice narrative role-playing theme to it. Wendy got stuck fighting with the ghoul priest at the end. Meanwhile, Roland basically stepped back, took his 45 out, and shot Wendy in the back. So Paul attacked but missed, and because I was engaged with a monster, he hit me instead. So he shot a 14-year-old girl in the back. Brilliant stuff. We ended up getting killed. But it's still, it was still such a good game, and it doesn't matter, you expect to die in Arkham, that's the point. But he really enjoyed it, and I think, that's number one. Alright, so we'll leave it to that. We're now coming up on half an hour now. This is probably one of the longest bench updates that I've ever done, so I do apologise. Thanks for sticking through to the end if you haven't got to this far. I will say once again, check out the Stone of Steel Facebook page, check out me on Twitter, check out the Facebook group as well. Just click that join and I will allow you to join. I think I've set it so that other people in the group can allow you to join if they are friends with you or if they've got things in common. So you should be able to just join anyway. It is actually closing in on nearly 500 members already, so that's brilliant to see. Thanks a million. Post some pictures in there of what you've been up to. Please let me see them. And and also I'll just say as well, if you want to help support the channel, please check out the Patreon. There are details down below in the description, and also check out channel membership as well. Both of those you get early ad-free access to videos, usually about a week before the video comes out on a Friday. You'll get it on a Monday. Doesn't go with these ones, but it doesn't go with bonus videos either. But you do get the main event of the Friday night video, so you'll get that for free. I'm also thinking as well of I'm kind of thinking at the moment of setting up a web store for Storm of Steel, for selling various things like rules and figures and things. I'm just working my way through the detail at the moment, and obviously just need to sit down and do it. And I will probably also be then, if that happens, I've been thinking I will offer Patreons a discount code as well. So there is good reason to at least get on the Patreon train. or channel membership. Right, again, I will leave it to that because we are closing in on 30 minutes now, and as I say, longest ever